Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the South Plains College Livestock Judging Contest here in the beautiful Mallet Center at Levelland, Texas. This is the first, as far as we know, livestock judging contest that's a live Facebook feed, so you're helping us make history. I'm Ron Presley. I'm in the Agriculture Department at South Plains College, a former livestock judging team member at South Plains, and we are delighted to welcome you here today. Get ready for a great show. We're going to be with you all afternoon. We've got about 600 contestants up there. We've got some of the best livestock in this whole part of the United States. It's going to be a great contest, and we're really excited to share it with you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dave Clevenger, and I'd like to welcome you to South Plains College to our annual livestock judging contest. We're going to give you a few instructions as we go along right now, but right now I would like to introduce the president of South Plains College to let you know how important he thinks our program and what we do is. He takes time out of his schedule to come give you guys a welcome. It's my honor to introduce Dr. Robin Satterwhite.
Thank you very much, Dave. Thank you all for being here. Welcome to, this isn't South Plains College in case any of you are confused, but welcome to South Plains College because we're the ones that are putting this together, and we're really glad you're here. We're excited about this contest. I want to throw out a couple of thank yous real quickly. We've got Dave Clevenger, Ron Presley, Connor Newsom, and a lot of our students and alumni that are all putting this together. Hey, join me real quickly in giving all these guys a round of applause. Hey, I'm really excited you're here today, but we are really proud of what's going on in our ag department. We're really proud of all of you and your accomplishments. We're really proud of South Plains College, and I want you to remember, and some of you are probably thinking about going to college soon. Some of you have a few years before you start thinking about that. But remember South Plains College. We do this every day, and you've got the best of the best instructors and coaches all involved with what's going on right here at South Plains College with the ag department and with all the other departments we have, science, math, engineering, all those things that you're probably interested in. So I want to encourage you to remember us, but I also want to encourage you to do your very best today. I know you've got a big day ahead of you. Congratulations, good luck, thank you for being here, and thank you for being part of South Plains College today.
Thank you, Dr. Satterwhite. As we get going, a couple of things I want to make you aware of before Coach Newsom takes over is if you don't realize, we're kind of have a little history going on right now. We have teamed up with Real Media out of Lubbock, Mr. Todd Stinson, and we are broadcasting this event live. It's a live web feed off of our livestock judging page. I don't encourage you to use your phones during the contest, of course, but it's a way your parents can see what's happening, what's going on, or you can go back home tonight and go, look, this is what we did. We have all kinds of commentating going on. We have advertisers, and we'll have live interviews. So kind of a cool thing. We welcome you to it, and we're going to get going with the contest, and Coach Newsom.
Thank you, Dave. And first off, I just want to say thank you to everybody coming out today. I think we have a really high-quality contest put together with some challenge for sure, but stuff that's still logical. And so I hope it's a good learning experience. A couple of just little things. I'll give you the classes real quick, and I'll kind of give you a breakdown how this deal is going to run. We're doing reasons this year, like some of you know, as you got there to the check-in. We're doing that from a practice situation this year to see how long it could take us. So in the future, we can format that into our tabulation. We thought it'd be good for some of you guys going to the district contest to prepare. And we've got reasons takers that are going to give you feedback, detailed critiques, and certainly some input on those reasons. Your first class will be performance breeding gilts. You'll have 10 questions on those. That's class 1. We got one little switch when you get your data down here on the days to 250 pounds. That's 250 pounds. So just realize that when you pick up your data. Class 2 will be crossbred market hogs. Class 3 will be Duroc market hogs. Class 4 is breeding does. Class 5 is market goats. Class 6, market lambs. Those will be questions. We'll have 10 on those as well. Questions aren't the similar format to probably somewhat what your teams are used to. We'll come up, ID questions. Vulvas and teats will be considered sound, but certainly expect questions with those as well. Class 7 to be performance weather dams. Class 8, spring yearling limousine heifers. Class 9's fall-born limousine heifers. Class 10 will be the performance Hereford heifers. Those will also be with questions, 10 of those as well. Class 11 will be the market steers. On the goats and the sheep, we will let you back off of those for, a couple of minutes, and then you'll step into handle. We'll do single file line, though, with a timer, all right at the first. And you can go through 4. You get 5 seconds to handle each sheep, okay? So everybody's getting a fair shot there. We'll mark your hands, and so you make sure that you're not trying to go back to the line to get the second handle. Sheep and goats, that will be the process, though. On the Herefords and the market steers, we'll back off of those. We will walk them 2 laps for you, and then we'll put them on the side profile. The last 2 to 3 minutes on the Herefords, we'll give you close inspection, and on the steers, we'll let you go in and mass handle those. All right, just be careful around the steers, guys. If you're not comfortable with handling market steers, then, maybe just get a good look at them from up top. With that, though, we'll finish. We'll come back in the stands. We'll do our questions, okay? Listen to me carefully here, though. As we finish those questions and pick up your Scantrons, if you're talking reasons, we're going to grab you and set you off to the side right over here, and then we'll take you over in here in our warm-up arena, and that's where we'll do the reasons at as soon as we're done with questions. As we start the reasons, for some of you that are talking, we'll also begin some of the critique just a little bit after that as well.
Especially the last 2 years of my life, I've really learned how much I enjoy livestock judging. You spend basically a whole day to yourself, and you just sit there and you evaluate good livestock. You read structure, you read body, you read power, you read, optimal finish, you read all of those different things, and then to get done with it and they get to the awards banquet and they actually, tell you that you got it right, it's pretty rewarding, and it's kind of a confidence booster if we're being honest.
I couldn't agree with you more. We'll pan around the crowd. We can see all the kids. You got it straight in front of you. That'd be the breeding does. Got some kids over there finishing up. We go over there to the right a little bit. We can see that's the Duroc Market Hogs. Keep going to the far right. We'll go to breeding gilts, and then we got another Market Hogs there in the corner. The bottom right of your screen will be the market steers. Those are brought to you by Texas Tech University. Thank those guys a great deal. They do an awesome job over there in Lubbock. Down in front right there with the we'll go. Dr. Satterwhite is still around. We're going to go ahead and ask for an interview for him one more.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the South Plains College Annual Livestock Judging Contest here at the beautiful Mallet Center in Levelland, Texas. Right down the road from the campus, or the main campus of South Plains College. We're privileged today to have with us Dr. Robin Satterwhite, the president of South Plains College. And Dr. Satterwhite, I might just start with one simple question. Sure. As we're talking to friends and family and future students out there, why should a student...
Thank you for letting me be here today. I'm excited about being part of this. Thank you for putting this on. This is a beautiful event. South Plains College. It's a great question, and I'm going to talk about a few things. But first and foremost, our faculty. We have the best faculty, bar none, around, and we have faculty that are focused on one thing. That's the success of our students, teaching our students. We have an environment where the classes are about 25 to 30 students in size. So instead of going to have a faculty member who is focused on teaching, they're not focused on research. Their focus is not focused on publications. They're focused on our students. And you're an alumnus from South Plains College. I'm an alumnus from South Plains College, and we look back and we recognize those great things that we liked about South Plains College so much and what it made it so special to us. probably the reason why we're both back here today, because we recognize the educational experience here is second to none. So I want to talk about a couple of different things, though. And everyone needs to higher education is extremely expensive. And if you look at South Plains College and you look at how much does it cost to go to South Plains College, it has to be a part of your consideration. You can save about $25,000 by choosing to go to South Plains College for 2 years versus going to the average public university. That's a public university for 2 years. That savings is probably up closer to $50,000, $60,000 if you're looking at a private university. And so, first and foremost, it's a great place to start. But you're going to go to, and I'm going to use Texas Tech as an example, because Texas Tech is our primary transfer university. It's where most of our students transfer to when they leave South Plains College. Texas Tech recognizes the quality of the students that we have here at South Plains. So when they leave here, and if you've taken 60 hours to earn an associate's degree, if you have maintained a 3.5 GPA, which is half A's, half B's, and you transfer to Texas Tech, they are going to offer you a scholarship. You don't have to apply for it. It's not a competitive application scholarship of $6,500 a year. Now, that is a better scholarship than if you came out straight out of high school and you scored a 30 on your ACT, top 10% of your class, 1,400 SAT, which is really a top-notch high school student. And you might say, well, why does Texas Tech do that? Why do they want to invest so much in those students coming over there and staying at Texas Tech? And it's simple, because our students are very top-notch students. When they graduate from South Plains College, Texas Tech knows that they've learned their commitment to their studies, and they know they're going to be successful from there. So it's an incredible investment. I'm going to go back to our faculty. Our faculty are, during that, not only are you saving those dollars, our faculty nurture students. They focus on the success of students. We have a lot of resources that are geared to just that. So students can come here and they can be successful, and they can have a great experience. This is one of those things. And to have this personalized experience in probably a better venue than any other around, that's one of those perks of coming to South Plains College. Now let me tell you, a lot of our students are not interested in transferring. They're looking at, I need to go to college for a couple of years, whether they're right out of high school or they're looking back at this and saying, how can I be successful? How can I go get an education and get a job? We have over 100 degree options here at South Plains. Those include those transfer programs, and then those include some vocational programs. When you're talking about nursing, welding, automotive, information systems, a ton of different, get 2 years of education, and immediately get a job. Those programs are accredited. Those programs have the students come out and they're licensed, and we have employers who are waiting for those students to graduate because they regularly have jobs waiting for them. And that's the exciting thing. So it doesn't matter what pathway you're looking for, whether you want to come here and be prepared for that next step, going to another university, whether you want to come here and prepare yourself for getting a job. We have it all. And we have it in an environment that is focused on you being successful. And I think that's really what it's all about, is how can we make it?
That's great. Well, folks, enjoy the rest of the show. I'll talk with you again later.
Like I said, I encourage all y'all to get on southplainscollege.edu and look up what's going on out here. We're going to go through and kind of talk about the classes that not many people are at right now. We're going to go the market lambs. It's right on your screen. They'll be numbered from 1 to 4 left to right, and I'll turn it over to Tanner, and he'll tell you all about market lamb evaluation.
Well, honestly, Preston, before, if you'd asked me that question 2 years ago, I'd have probably said you could just do it yourself, because if we're being honest, when I was in high school, if I got the market lambs right, I usually did pretty well. But if I didn't do well, it was usually because of the market lambs. I will say, judging for Connor Newsom, if there's one thing you learn for market lambs, the first is obviously muscle. Muscle kind of goes hand in hand with handle quality, no pun intended, but I think in terms of just being bold and upstanding over their rack and having some back shape, and then still being big and stout in their pin set, still having some shape down into their twist, and just being powerful all the way through, that's definitely important because we're analyzing market animals. I think the second thing is in terms of correctness of finish, that also goes hand in hand with handle quality, because you when you analyze how much finish they have on, excuse me, how they touch, and in terms of their touch and tone, how much cover they've got on them. And I think one thing we always want to talk about is everybody's scared of the fat sheep. I will say quite a few times in my life, well, not recently, but several times in my life, I kind of got hung up on what we'd call a fat sheep. You know, they look bold, they look massive, and then you get your hands on them and they're way too soft, and it's obviously all fake. Thirdly, we want to talk about balance. You know, does their bone match their top side mass? Do they have a good look from the side? Do they just catch your eye in terms of being balanced and square? And important for us in the livestock industry, you know, we talk so much about, some people talk so much about muscle, but I think the reason that we move forward is because we analyze structure, and we analyze balance, and we analyze look, and we break down all these things, and we're pushing the industry forward into a brighter, more educated future. Fourthly, definitely structural correctness. We want them to be smooth-shouldered. We want them to be long and level out through their hip. We want them to have some drop to their twist, and we want them to just be, we want them to be long and level out through their hip, and we just want them to have a, you know, an athletic look. And I think that's the big question. You know, I'll just talk about some market lamb classes that I've judged before, and you know, one of the most interesting things for me is when I came into college, we judged our first contest, and I was first in hogs, second in cattle, and 10th in reasons, and dropped about 65 points in sheep, and took about 40 of them on the market lamb. So I think that was one that was definitely, I told Connor, I said, Connor, I don't know if I could judge sheep, and he said, no, we'll get you tuned in. Don't worry about it. And here I am 2 years later, and if I had to pick a set of reasons that I just love to give out some market lambs.
I gotcha. I totally agree with you, Tanner. I think market lambs is most people's the most scared they've ever been walking to a contest is dealing with the market lambs. I think that's absolutely true, and it's just so hard to make market lambs that good and that elevated up front, make their shoulders flow good and their back shape still works so smooth and so correctly. Right now on the screen, we're over there by the market goats. Miss Molly McCulley in the white shirt, she would be a freshman here at South Plains from Kingfisher, Oklahoma. We're really excited about her future and the talented speaker that she really is. I heard a lot of talk about that class today and how challenging it is, especially when you're got so far off, and as the kids are handling right now, they're handling for just how big that rack is right on the top of their shoulders and how flat their loin is when you work them right behind it. Young lady in the orange shirt's doing an awesome job there.
You guys ready to do another interview? It's Clay. Keep going, guys.
I got you. So we'll go ahead and keep talking about the market goats. You got the brown goat there on the end. Kind of interesting in their critter in terms of just how much muscle he has when you get right behind him. His shoulder looks not just absolutely perfect like Tanner was talking about. It's a little bit smaller version, I'll be honest with you. I think, like Tanner was talking about, market lambs were his scared suit when he got to college. I think mine were the market goats, I'll be honest with you. Because I think they're one of the harder things to read in the country, just in terms of they don't really act the best normally. They normally never show really good. It takes an awesome showman to get one put together. I think they just have their differences in what you want to do, where you want to labor priority. Old school's guys like a little bit extra muscle in terms of their back shape, in terms of how much power they have when you step right behind them. New school guys want them to be cool looking and short shouldered and shallow. Mesh those things together and you get to just find a good one for different reasons. I'm sure Tanner, he probably got a couple of experiences that he can tell you about the market goats this year. No, I got a couple stories, but we'll let him tell you one.
Well, first off, it's not about this year. I remember being in high school, and my ag teacher didn't tell me this. It was just someone else who thought they knew what they were doing, and they said, when in doubt, chest them out, because I had no idea what to do on the market goats. And I can honestly say, before I got to college, that got me in trouble a couple of times, because I've seen some wide-chested ones that didn't have any rack shape. And you know, this don't really judge them just a whole lot until we get to the second half of our sophomore year, and that's where you start hitting them everywhere at all of the Texas contests. And I think one of the most difficult things was adjusting and just being able to evaluate those animals, because yeah, it's similar to market lambs, but there's obviously some differences. I think in terms of handle quality, reading freshness, you want them a touch harder. You want their loin doesn't feel quite as upstanding, it's just wide and flat. And then I think you can be fooled, because you can have one that handles really well and then you step in behind them and their pin set's a shot narrower. But I think the biggest thing is just handle quality and being able.
Over to Miss Quay Owen. She was a member of my judging team here at South Plains College. She's interviewing Mr. Kurt Clark. We'll go to them right now.
Hi everyone, my name is Quay Owen, and today I'm here with Kurt Clark. He's from Whiteface FFA. And Kurt, today I know all these students are out at this livestock judging contest, but what exactly is the value of a livestock judging contest?
So today we brought 26 kids ranging from the 3rd grade all the way up to seniors in high school. Those kids are out here today evaluating livestock. The value of a lot of this is being able to determine differences between livestock, class of flowers. They can judge a business, they can do all that stuff. Probably one of the greatest skills that they learn is how to talk to people. That's tough today in today's age. You get one to send a text message instead of having a conversation with somebody. And when you judge livestock, especially on the 4-H end of things, you have to talk a set of reasons. You have to be able to talk in front of people. You have to be confident when you speak, be able to look at people in the eye when you talk to them. It's one of the greatest things that we do with our kids in the program.
Definitely. So in terms of public speaking, do a lot of these kids go on to other contests and do other things with their public speaking?
Yeah, other speech contests, prepare public speaking and things like that. And this really helps them kind of put that skill to use in more of a situation where they have to think on their feet. One of the greatest things about what we do is, especially starting these kids at a young age, if we can start them out as 3rd grade, we can develop our farm system just like a Major League Baseball team would do. So we're trying to develop those kids when they're really, really young, and I think even their elementary teachers see a difference in them on their feet. They can tell their teachers what they're thinking and when they're thinking. They know when to ask a question and when not to ask a question, when to listen. It's really, really valuable. And like I tell the kids all the time, this is valuable whether or not they ever get a job in the livestock industry, because you can tell things even if you're just going to a grocery store and buying meat behind a retail counter. You know where it came from at least and what to expect out of it.
So how many kids did you bring out here today?
We've got 23 kids here today. We've got probably 110 kids in the program from K through 12, which is a pretty big number because we only have 250 in the whole school. So everybody does ag. It's kind of what you do.
Yes, you brought your kids today, so what's the youngest and what's the oldest?
The youngest kid we've got with us today is 9, and the oldest kid we've got, she is 16 and going to go to Oklahoma State, try to get into vet school. So this has been a gateway for a lot of my kids to figure out what they want to do, where they want to do it, and kind of get an idea for a little future plan and make them successful.
Oh, yeah.
In the end.
You know, every day begins with a sunrise, but it's what you do before the sun sets that matters. Whether you measure your success by owning land, expanding your herd, or managing risk to provide security for your family, our purpose is simply this. Ag Texas Farm Credit Services is dedicated to the prosperity of agriculture and rural America. It's your Texas. Live it.
Welcome back to the 48th annual South Plains College Livestock Judging Contest. We're having a great afternoon here today, and I'm going to do this special interview with a special young man that I've just met. This is Connor Faught from Wellman Union High School. Connor, I noticed by your jacket that you're in FFA.
Yes, sir.
Tell us what you do there.
Well, I currently serve as the Area 2 FFA president. So everything pretty much south of Ropes and all of West Texas, that's the area I serve.
Great. What got your interest up to serve in that capacity?
I enjoy taking leadership roles. I think it helps me grow as a person, and I like serving others. And so when my ag teacher started encouraging me to run for an area office and kind of telling me what the job was all about, it definitely sounded like something I'd love to do. I have a passion for agriculture and advocating for it, and so it was just a natural place for me to go. And I was lucky enough to have been elected by my members, and have just greatly enjoyed serving them this year.
That's excellent. That's excellent. Have you served in other capacities?
Yes, sir. Within FFA, I've been a chapter officer on multiple occasions, and in other organizations, I've served as a state officer 2 years running as of right now in Future Business Leaders of America here in Texas.
Future Business Leaders of America. Yes, tell me about that organization.
Future Business Leaders of America is a relatively small career and technical student organization. We focus mainly on the business career clusters, while FFA will focus on agricultural and natural sciences. We natural resources and things like that. FBLA focuses on business and marketing.
How cool. Go. Now I understand you've got some college plans. Tell me what universities you're looking at.
Right now, my current plans are to go to Baylor University and major in engineering, after which I'll commission in the Air Force under the ROTC program there at Baylor.
Okay, you want to be a pilot?
No, sir. No pilot for me. Heights aren't my favorite thing, so flying a jet would be a little bit shaky for me.
Okay, so why the Air Force?
Like I said, I have a passion for service, and when I was really considering what career path I wanted to take, that was definitely somewhere that popped out to me, in a place that I could serve my country and do the most good for the most people.
That's great. That's great. How many seniors are going to graduate from Wellman Union this May?
I think we have 12 seniors, 12 kids. So,
Connor, I understand that you're going to be a graduate of not only Wellman Union High School, but South Plains College in May also.
Yes, sir. I'll graduate with my Associate of Arts here at South Plains about 2 weeks before I graduate my own high school.
That's excellent, Connor. Congratulations, and we're honored to have had a great student like you here at South Plains. Did you enjoy your classes here?
Absolutely. The professors and the one-on-one experience with them has been awesome, and all my dual enrollment courses have been great.
That's excellent. That's excellent. Well, it looks like they've produced a fine young student in you, and I wish you the very best of luck. Have you enjoyed seeing some of your fellow students out here at the contest today?
Yes, sir, absolutely. It's always a pleasure to be at FFA events and to see students taking action and learning and having a good time. So.
Okay, good deal. Thank you, Connor.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Thanks for coming out.
Sir.
Thank you for that awesome interview there, Mr. Presley, with probably one of the best leaders in the country, with the Area 2 State Officer, Mr. Connor Faught. He's going to be a proud graduate of South Plains College this coming May. Tanner, what do you think about that interview there, boss man?
Well, honestly, Preston, I related to that interview a lot. I was always involved in FFA. I was always a leading member, and my instructor that was interested and pushed me to be who I was. I have a fantastic ag teacher to thank for all those years.
How much video we got left?
Now we're back over at the does. Those are brought to you by Bryson Williams at BW Livestock. I guess we'll go through it and break down the different traits, and then we'll discuss those in some detail. All right, first trait is structural correctness. You know, pretty similar to the market lambs, just on the female side. You want them, it's not as much of a deal in does, but as level as you can get them out through their hip, and you want their hind leg to be right. You just want them to be sound and athletic on the go. Secondly is just volume, you know, in terms of just body shape and rib cage, and you know, we want them built like a barrel. We want them round instead of just deep. Thirdly would be muscle, because obviously these females' main goal is to produce wethers. You know, we want them to be stout, we want them to be bold, we want them to be big-hipped, and we want them to have muscle, but still lay it on in a feminine fashion. How important balance is to the sheep world, but in terms of just being stout and being good looking and still being sound and just getting those things out and making them look like they can make a nice wether or a nice doe that could lead our industry forward. Do you have anything to say about that, Preston?
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and we'll talk about the program there at BW Livestock that they're doing up there around the Olton, Texas area. I think Bryson and the guys that help him, they do an awesome job. He's had a pretty successful run here the last couple 2 or 3 years. I think he sold her in the goat market for looking for a great one. The San Antonio champion came from Friday Night Fever. The Houston champion was placed by Mr. Glenn Martin. They do an awesome job out there for Friday Night Fever. We'll keep talking about the breeding does. I think that class it's kind of interesting. Bryson says that he brings a real good one out of there, and a couple of them that he's going to use there in his flush program. And I think that class is ultra good. We're paying over here. We got the limousine heifers brought to you by Mr. Bruce Lawrence. I think that class is ultra good. Over about them. I think Bruce and his daughter Amber they're actually the 2018 Herdsman of the Year program for the limousine breed. Awesome shout out for them that they bring such a high quality class to us every year. We'd like to thank them and all they do for South Plains College and all across the judging world. They do a really nice job. Go over some selection criteria there we like to talk about in the breeding heifers and see our ag teachers there around. We'll talk about some structural correctness. That's the first priority in breeding cattle. It kind of goes hand in hand. We just build everything that's kind of the art of livestock breeding. I think the Lawrence family does an awesome job there. The second one will be just terms of body volume, their rib shape and dimension, and how much just body and muscle they got there. That kind of correlates with the third one. It's the natural dimension and thickness. I think you study breeding cattle for their natural dimension and what they're going to pass on to future generations right there in terms of their pen set, where they put their hind leg down and how wide they are when they track away. I think when we get them big heavy breds, I think they just track a little bit wide and sometimes want to get it up underneath them just a little bit in the way they travel. I know Tanner, he is familiar with that family. I think they do an awesome job, like I've been saying. We'll let Tanner tell you a little bit about the last couple criteria we like to look for in breeding cattle.
Well, you know, I think another important part, and I'm starting to sound a little bit like a broken record here, but I think definitely balance, okay? You know, we want these things to set up when we put a halter on them and get them stuck. We want them to look the part, you know what I mean? And then lastly is sex character. And I know that sounds a little different for some of you at home, and what we mean is we want them to look like females. We want them to look like a heifer. You know, I thought one of the things that I always enjoyed so much was stalking heifers at contests, because I think no matter which direction you go, as long as you stick to your guns and follow what you think, you can always get creative and always be, let's see, ingenuitive. We'll say ingenuitive with the words that you use and the things that you say and how you say them. And I think that's a big part of portraying that to the reasons taker.
Absolutely. You guys at home might have to get your dictionary or thesaurus out to understand what Mr. Tanner Keaton met 31 on his. He's a little bit over my head in some words, but I appreciate all he has to bring to the table. If you just pan around and look around, we can see all the kids out there today. I think we have a little bit over 600 kids here today for the South Plains Livestock Judging Contest, ages probably from 9 years old and just being able to see over the bar to some 6'5" seniors that make me look like a little kid. Right over here we got the Duroc Market Hogs. I think that's going to be class number 3 or 2. If we look on the screen, it's class 3. I think that's one of our lovely assistants walking the. We'll pan back over to the weather dams down here in the corner. We can talk about them for a little bit and give some shout outs to where those guys are from. Just as we widen, we can just see the amount of people that it takes to put on a contest like this and everything that's going on, and such an awesome experience for these kids, the ag teachers, the alumni at South Plains that are just doing an awesome job for us. We'll go over here. Looks like we're just over there at the Hogs. Looks like we got some kids sitting up on the fence, Tanner. What do you got to say about those guys there? Look like they're working really hard or playing really hard.
Kind of collect ourselves. All right, Preston, we got some weather dams here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about them?
Sounds great. Well, let's go ahead and talk about the weather dams. That'll be class 7 for you guys at home. Keep it up with your kiddos, watching them around. Our weather dams were brought to you by Newsom Livestock, Mr. Logan and Connor Newsom. They're in Olton, Texas. Run about 400 ewes, do an awesome job. A couple of years ago, they had the reserve grant at San Angelo, shown by Mr. Dalton York. He was the champion fine wool cross. Do a really nice job. We have a couple sales this fall if your kiddos are into showing market lambs to come by and take a look. In the pen right now with the pink shirt on, Mr. Jason Price. He's be a sophomore here at South Plains College. One of the most distinguished sheep minds, I think, in the country, I'll be honest with you. Always picking Jason's head on what he does a good job. His sister showed the champion fine wool there at San Antonio this year for that family. An awesome deal for those guys. Go ahead and talk about some weather dams there. We got we'll go to the structural correctness will be the first thing we like to talk about in breeding sheep. Just building them plains, more the importance of building them from the ground up and how that's important. Then we just build them right. We can put as much muscle and rib shape as we can in them. I think that 4 sheep right there, that one does a pretty good job of putting some things together that are hard to do. The second thing, it's kind of a little thing, but it kind of matters to the big scheme of things. Growth, weight per day of age. The faster they grow, the more we can turn them in and flip them over and put them into the breeding season and start making better sheep. The faster we can do it, it's an awesome deal. The third one we like to terms in terms of body shape and genuine rib shape. We don't want sheep that don't flow right in behind their shoulders. And I think that one sheep, look at that one right there on the ring side there, Tanner. In terms of her rib shape, I think it's ultra good. She's not the boldest in her body shape, but that one's really round. And I think in terms of balance and eye appeal, that one's ultra good, which would be our 4th criteria. And then the last thing we like to talk about in sheep is making them look like a female, like we were talking about in the heifers. When you got breeding stock, you want them to do the job that they're supposed to do, whether it's the bull that's bringing the power and the muscle or the ewe that's bringing the structural. Our job is to just complement them as best we can. The weather dams, I think it's a nice class if we just get out there and study those girls, get them to move around for us. I think we're in the middle of a rotation. We're going to bounce on over for our 3rd interview today. Mr. Presley, it's all yours, sir.
Welcome back to the South Plains College Livestock Judging Contest interview booth. We're having a great show here today. I hope you're enjoying it. We've Extension Service, our office here in Hockley County. Mr. Utley, welcome to the Livestock Judging Contest.
Thank y'all for having us.
I'm a true advocate for the Agricultural Extension Service. I think they do a great job. Of course, they help these young people a lot learn to judge. And Mr. Utley, tell me, how many extension agents are there in Hockley County?
Well, in our specific county office, there is myself as the ag agent. We have a 4-H agent, a family consumer science agent, and an integrated pest management agent.
Okay. And an important issue you seem to be hearing from area farmers out here right now in West Texas.
Well, the main one that we can't control, of course, is Mother Nature. But the current economic situation with all commodities across this area is a huge factor in these farmers and producers' lives. The specific input cost on various crops that we grow is increasing by the day, and it seems as though our commodity price is dropping.
Yes, and I know that you have nothing really to do with the political aspect, but you're probably hearing a lot of fears from our grain sorghum of tariff or trade war with the Chinese.
Yes, we, as an extension agent, it is my job to educate, and do the best that I can do to educate our producers in the arena. But yes, what happens in Washington, D.C. definitely affects us here in Hockley County and in our region. Our producers are not going to change their lives based on any kind of a tariff. These guys, this is what they believe in. That's what they've grown up doing. They love it. So they're just going to keep doing what they do, and whether it's a trade war with China or whoever, they're going to keep producing the commodities we do.
Region out here, and the Extension Service fair in Hockley County this year.
Yes, in January, typically like the second week of January, we will host our Hockley County Fair. And we will bring in kids from every school in the county, and it'll be hosted right here at the Mallet. And typically there's probably right at 60 head of market steers, 20 or 30, and probably 50 head of goats. And like the market cattle, for instance, these kids have worked all year round, and like right now they're already purchasing projects for this county show, and on to Fort Worth, San Antonio, Houston. And like the cattle project in particular is it's a year-round project, and these kids they learn more than just showing through this project. It's day-to-day responsibility, livestock management, livestock nutrition and care. Look at it as it's an educational tool, and that's how I try to use it as a county extension agent.
And that's exactly what it's meant to be. The Extension Service helps people all over the state of Texas, including my grandparents, who they helped them design their yard back in the late 1930s. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for paying attention and watching the South Plains College Livestock Judging Contest.
I say this often and truly believe that the success of any program can be seen in those who come from that program. SPC has an incredible list of alumni that prove we have a heritage rich in both tradition and success. One of the keys for any department is to provide students with opportunities to become involved in their discipline. For us, it is livestock judging. Our program has been the foundation for students to become industry leaders within the College of Ag Sciences. This excellence transfers to many other areas of their life, such as the obvious benefits of being a skilled public speaker and decision-making abilities that excel the average student.
There's a long list of things that livestock judging has certainly done for me, but I think one of the most important is nowadays it's not so much what you know, but it's rather who you know, and with the team traveling across the United States judging contests and working out at farms and different ranches, it's really helped me to open myself a network and establish relationships that I think will certainly last longer than my judging career will.
Growing up livestock judging, I knew it would become a major part of my life, and whenever I did finally become a senior, I knew it's something I wanted to pursue throughout college. And whenever I did come into contact with Connor Newsom, I came down here and gave a tour, and I knew this is a legendary program that I wanted to become a part of so I could be competitive throughout my collegiate career.
Without a reasonable doubt, I would certainly recommend any individual who would like to try to increase their skills in the livestock judging area certainly to come to South Plains, because not only do they specifically recruit the kind of kids that get along really well in a contest, but there's certainly good personal relationships can be built here. But as much as anything, as I feel like the location of Levelland is just really vital to help establishing a good base on the industry and show standings that can help you get along well in a contest as far as beating people who do well in and out of the show ring. And you learn some the real world side of things that really kind of help you find the logics behind the class, and Connor does a phenomenal job accentuating that with each and every one of us.
Our program was designed around leadership and self-discipline, and I still believe that this product is being instilled in students who finish our program. Perks include enhanced evaluation skills and the opportunities to meet leaders in our industry and see some of the best livestock in the world. For more information about the livestock judging team, please come visit us on the web at southplainscollege.edu or come by our Facebook page. If you want to give us a call, 806-716-2324.
We're here with Ty Dunham, SPC Livestock Judging Member and 2018 All-American, and he's going to talk to us today about the value in livestock judging.
Well, to me, I guess for a lot of people, livestock judging is just placing 4 animals and then being able to give an oral set of reasons or even answer a few questions about those 4 animals. But when you get into it, you really realize how much more there is to it. So we're forced to make a decision in a timely manner, and then later on in that day we have to efficiently and professionally give a set of oral reasons one-on-one to a person, and that forces us to defend and explain our decision, right or wrong. We have to be able to do that. And I think communication is the key part, because in the real world, to be a successful employer or even employee, you have to be able to communicate in your workplace and be able to do it in a diligently manner.
I know livestock judging takes a lot of work, so how would you say you balance both school, a social life, and livestock judging?
Well, my time here at South Plains College, I have taken at least 14 hours each semester, as well as being on the livestock judging team, and it really comes down to how bad you want it. You have to be able to put in the work to be a successful judge and also be able to do your schoolwork on top of it. I was able to be an All-American while still holding a 3.96 GPA, so I think it just really comes down to how bad you want it.
Well, we're back here at the Mallet Event Center for the South Plains Livestock Judging Contest. I'd just like to give a shout out to Pilot Real Media and Mr. Todd Stinson for doing an awesome job. Whether it's in the booth or working on all the cameras, his crew does an awesome job with the live interviews and the live stream, helping us make history here in Levelland, Texas. We're looking at a bona fide genius or a certified genius, but he was an expert hog showman back in his day, and he's a proud enthusiast of the hog world, and I'll let him go ahead and tell you about the Duroc market hogs and some selection criteria. Mr. Tanner, take it over.
Thank you, Preston. Anybody who knows me knows that I have a passion for, the swine industry, and I think anybody who has a passion for the swine industry, whether it's a breed that they like or a breed that they don't like, they can appreciate good livestock. And before I get into too many of my stories, we'll talk to being opened up underneath. Are they square and opened up at the ground? Are they powerful? Are they big-hipped? Are they bold? Are they stout? That's just in terms of being, having the biggest back and having the biggest hip and just having the most shape to them. Secondly is optimal lean, and I think we, especially in the hog industry, are really picky on that. You know, are they pushing too much for their jowl and flank? Are they getting a little chuffy up front? Are they getting a little soft? Are they a shot plainer in their shape? Thirdly is skeletal width, and I talked about this earlier at the surface. Fourth is a big one for me personally, and that's just build and structural correctness. You know, is their long and level out through their hip? Is their hind leg square? And I think that's something we can specifically talk about when talking about Durocs, is that, you know, to keep them sound and to keep them their hind legs square and motoring right, I think is the hardest part of raising red pigs. Lastly is just, you know, we don't talk about it near as much, but performance, okay? We want these things to grow. We want them to feed. We want them to convert, because at the end of the day, this is a market. I showed in the 3rd grade and didn't quit, and I've actually got some gilts at home that I'm getting ready to haul to Expo. So it's definitely something that I have a passion and a drive for. You know, most people who aren't from Texas don't understand what it's like to get out in the ring at a Texas major and see the kind of quality and see the kind of, you know, just see the difference in quality that you're up against and the kind of level that you're competing against. And it can be daunting. It can be scary, but when you be confident, you realize that, you know, maybe it's your day and the judge thinks that you've got the best.
Oh, absolutely. I think all these kids that we're talking about, the ages from 9 to 18, I think they probably care just as much about livestock judging as they do actually showing animals. And I think that's a passion that you instill from a young age. I know personally, growing up there in North Texas, I showed a bunch of cattle, I showed some hogs. I really loved being in the ring, whether it was on the green chips in Houston, or was it all when they flipped the bright lights on in San Antonio and they ask you to go show with the big boys, or it's your local county show. I think honestly, Tanner, I know you probably was in county shows. The people that aren't too good that aren't too good to show at those shows and keep working to be the best and helping everyone out, helping everyone get started. I know, Tanner, like you said earlier, you're a first-generation ag person, and I just maybe tell the people back at home, and if there's any kids listening, what it's like to step into the ag world and give them some advice on how to fit in and how they think that everything needs to be handled. Just some of your experiences, Tanner.
Well, you know, honestly, I came in as a 3rd grader who didn't know anything. I had no clue. I just knew that I liked pigs, and I wanted to show the rest of them after that. And I think one of the most interesting things that I got to be a part of was just showing all the bears that I showed for years. You know, I had bears from some of the best, from some of the biggest names in the country, and I think it was definitely an awesome part where, you know, when you got out on those shavings and the judge shook your hand to say that you had the best bear in the ring, it was definitely almost a culture shock for me, just a little bit, because, you know, I had never been a part of something like this. And, you know, we all have our bad days. If there's one thing with grace and lose with humility, okay, or lose with grace and win with humility, excuse me. The biggest thing is just, you know, knowing how you should act and how you conduct yourself, and, you know, you aren't always going to win everything. And so the biggest piece of advice that I can have for people is, you know, always be professional, always be polite, and always be open to criticism, and always be open to learn.
Absolutely, Tanner. I can tell you a couple stories. The first pig I ever showed, I think we went to a guy's house and they said, "This is your pig." I mean, I really didn't have to get to pick him out or anywhere. But I tell you what, if that pig wouldn't have came into the world, I probably wouldn't know where I'm at today, because I'm so grateful for what the agriculture industry has taught me and everything, all the people that have been around it. I think it's an absolute amazing deal. And we got some people hopping over the ropes down there in the front and center, right where our pole Herefords are. The guy with the stick is Mr. Ty Dunham. He'd be an All-American this year on the sophomore team. The kid to his right is Mr. Jarrett Foot. Foot Farms, that Cankles spot board, they do an awesome job with. And we're going to have a little change over here in a minute. We're going to let Tanner go walk around the contest and enjoy it, and he's get ready ready to talk some of his classes later on that he's going to talk. We're going to have Mr. Bryson Williams join us here in a little bit, and we'll go ahead and get that set up for y'all. And just stay tuned, and we'll get to talk to Bryson here in a little bit. Tanner, I appreciate everything you do. We'll talk to you in a little while, buddy.
All right, see you after a while.
Well, Mr. Bryson Williams jumps in the booth real fast, and we'll go ahead and talk about some of the things that he likes to do. Like we were talking about earlier, Bryson provided the breeding doe class to us, a really nice class, and I think Bryson does an awesome job getting in the goat world. He's an up-and-coming guy, works really hard at what he does. Bryson, you want to tell the folks back at home a little bit about your program, please, sir?
Well, thank you, Preston, for the hype, and
He's having a little technical difficulties.
well, thanks for having me. Like I said, thought it's a really good contest so far. I don't know how good the does are. I don't know if you're as nice as what you've built up. 4 nice females that we thought would work well for a 4-H contest. Maybe not some big differences in terms of size, but certainly some quality things up top and below as well. Back at the house, what we do, we run a little over 200 primarily February through May. We kid pretty heavily. We have a small group starting in January as well. So we're either kidding or selling goats at any given time through the year. Primarily we work throughout the Southwest, Oklahoma, Texas, and New Mexico, some into Colorado. Over the last couple of years, we've branched out and sent a select group to the West Coast, along California, not so much through the Southeast at the moment, primarily like through the Southwest, like we said. It's high and low. That's pretty much what we do, and if we don't have them, if we didn't raise them, we'll certainly find them for you. So.
That's awesome to hear, Bryson. Like I said earlier, guys, he does a really nice job. Brought the doe class for us. Bryson, can you tell the folks about at home what's your schedule like this spring and summer? What kind of sales you got going on and everything that goes on for what you're doing and how you sell weathers?
Any livestock weathers until after the Friday Night Fever. That sells June 8th. Always the first weekend of June. Especially in Texas, a really, really big event held in San Angelo, Texas. The place to find your show goat, absolutely. And after that, we usually do open up our private treaty things. And after that, we do sell some select weathers at other sales as well. We'll host one of our own with Kate Hoffman, Macon Stork, and the Hoffman brothers in July, the 3rd weekend of July. That'll be in Kerrville, hosted by Spence. But like I said, the majority of our stock does sell private treaty, just through special orders and what it is we have to find. But that's kind of the majority of the things we do.
Sounds good, Bryson. We'll talk a little bit about the market lambs we got there. We'll go ahead and Miss Laura Wynn there in the pink shirt with the phone. Go ahead and tell you a little bit about her. She's on the freshman team here at South Plains. Laura's actually a very, very good sheep showman. She showed the reserve grand at the National Western a couple of years ago. She does a really nice job. We're excited about her future here at South. National champion livestock judging team there at Texas Tech a couple of years ago. I'm sure you can tell everyone back at home what it's like to be a national champion and what goes into livestock judging, and just a little bit about this market lamb judging. Bryson, got any advice for the people at home?
Yeah, kind of a 2-part question, I guess. Market lambs especially seems like something that several kids struggle with for some reason. I guess that people just don't see, a lot of market lambs. The majority of people some type of struggle. Market lambs especially. These sheep that you'll judge now and through. These 4-H kids will judge this time of the year are usually sheep or goats or any animals, I guess, market-wise that are, from these Texas majors that have some differences in terms of freshness, in terms of handle, look as well. You get these sheep that maybe are just a nickel softer, or some animals that are certainly past their prime. So it's different throughout the year. The market lambs and market goats, I thought they handled really fresh, maybe not youthful, if you will, but in terms of just edges, in terms of freshness, in terms of grab, some animals that certainly have those things working in their benefit, animals that have been maintained to a really high degree.
Absolutely, and shout out to their Connor Newsom and his livestock judging team. They do a really nice job of keeping these animals presented to a T. All the kids just working really hard. We got the market goat class there pulled up there on the far right. Got a couple.
Got the red goat.
Got the red goat there on the far end.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody likes some color. Paint goes a long ways. I don't mind a red goat. I mean, this one certainly no slouch. One that has lots of look and shape and eye appeal to. One that's fairly stout in the same breath. It's been yet for a red goat to win a big show, but I'd say they're certainly in the mix along the way. So.
Oh, absolutely, Bryce. I guess I'm going to ask you the question that everybody in the sheep and goat industry is looking for the answer to. How big and important?
Underneath it, you still need some actual bone to go with it. Don't get fooled, by some shag. But with sheep and goats, I'd say it's certainly needed to balance some things up or to change some things. But I certainly wouldn't go too deep into it as far as needing it. But it does matter, yes.
Oh, absolutely, I couldn't agree with you. I like the shag, I'll be honest with you.
Big fan of the shag. There's all kinds of products or things that you can get into as well. Certainly something that's easy to sell, something that people buy into. But just keep in mind what's underneath it.
Pretty easy to sell those babies there at the Friday Night Fever or anywhere if they got all that shag on them legs. It can fool the naked eye and just see how stout and actually genuine they are in their foot size.
Yeah, like I said, hair is needed, but a sheared goat is still something to look at.
Absolutely. With Sade and with everyone, and got a little youngster walking behind her. She's trying to figure everything out.
You think the kids look lost or no?
I mean,
everything's going pretty smooth.
I think looks all right. We got some kids playing on the fence there in the background earlier. This kind of
the old rock paper scissors, huh?
Absolutely. I think probably the older you are, the more fun you like to have at a judging contest within the guidelines and the rules and things of that nature. The younger you are, I think the more nerves you have. I know I still get nervous a little bit when I go to judging
I've seen
contests.
you sweat.
Yeah, sophomore year out South Plains.
Molding young minds.
Yeah, Bryson does a great job of molding young minds and teaching everything. He does a really nice job. Like I said, he was a member of the national champion team there at Texas Tech. Outstanding honor in the livestock industry. Panning around the whole contest. Bryson, just you don't know how many people are here. I do, so I'm going to ask you a question. How many kids do you think are here?
I would say pretty close to 600, probably.
Golly.
Got to be fairly close there.
Golly,
if I just took a wild guess, I'd say that the entry number was close to 561. But that's just a wild guess.
He's a mathematician and a goat guy by night, guys. Looks like we got a little interview getting cattle company there in Levelland.
God bless kids and cattle.
Absolutely. Bryson, when are you going to get you to saying like that? God bless kids and goats, I guess?
I'll just keep it to myself, I guess. I'll pass on the saying.
The sayings. Bryson, guys, I'll be honest with you. Bryson is a man of few words. For him to step up to the podium and talk about some stuff that's actually really, we don't really get to hear Bryson's voice. He kind of keeps to himself. We're going to bounce over to my teammate, Miss Quay Owen, or Matt Popelka. Quay, take it away.
Mr. Matt, the Magic Man Popelka. And Matt, we're having this livestock judging contest at the Mallet Event Center in Loveland. Tell us more about the Mallet Event Center.
Well, I'm proud to be from Levelland, Texas. I feel like we're a progressive community, and years ago we showed in a county barn that kind of had run its course, and so my family and some other great people in Hockley County, they kind of went on an exploratory mission, and this is the host great events for people. I mean, we got this deal is awesome. I mean, we've got lots of kids coming in doing their judging, and my daughter even got married here. We've got banquet. We've got a banquet room that my daughter and lots of folks, they have wedding dances, and we came here the other night for a rodeo. That was a bull riding and deal, and had a great turnout. And so it seems like there's something going on, not just on the weekends here, but this Mallet Event Center has been really good for Levelland and
Exactly. And I know you're with CPR Cattle Company right here in Levelland. So do you guys have your sale here, or kind of tell us more about that?
Well, I'll tell you, we don't have our sale here. We've got a facility out there at the barn, and so we have our sale there. We show our county show. We have our county show right where we're standing, stock show, and we love showing at the Golden Spread in the summertime. That's in late June, and so, man, there's just a ton of events out here at the Mallet, and we just welcome and thank everybody for coming. I want to invite everybody, hey, we're having a club calf sale. It's on steerbidder.com and CPR Cattle. We just decided to have a event with some friends here in Hockley County, and we've got different producers that have helped, kind of create this building, and they're gonna have an online sale, and I'd like to invite everybody to join that. And while you're in Levelland, hey, there's some really good places to eat. Don't forget about that. If you're hungry, man, we've got everything from McDonald's, awesome things going on in Levelland.
Okay. So I know you said you judged at Kansas State.
Yes.
Okay, tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, I played football in junior college and judged there at K-State, and the community. It's all about just learning and improving and just training kids to make good decisions, whether it's on livestock or in life, and that's what we're done.
Why choose South Plains College?
I chose South Plains College because I really love the small student-to-teacher ratio.
A quality education at an affordable price.
Definitely starting out small kind of gives you a foundation on, to grow, especially if you're going to be transferring.
With over 100 programs of study, 4 locations, and amazingly affordable tuition, the choice is clear. And introducing the new Culinary Arts program, now enrolling.
Prepare yourself.
Prepare yourself.
Prepare yourself at South Plains College.
Welcome back to the 48th annual South Plains College Livestock Judging Contest. I've got with me today Mr. Mark Tucker from Prosperity Bank here in Levelland, Texas. Mark, how long have you been at Prosperity Bank?
This is my 11th year at Prosperity Bank, Ron.
My goodness, that's hard to believe, isn't it? How fast time has passed. I understand that as a boy, you judged at this contest.
As we were discussing before, we've judged here several times, and as a youth, as a young person, I came to school here at South Plains College.
Well, of course I know that because we've been friends since you came here as a student to South Plains. I understand from what you said before our conversation that South Plains helped you prepare for this job.
The South Plains College was an intricate part of my growing up. It helped me to grow up, helped me to learn, to study. The staff here was just so awesome. Mr. Clevenger was such an intricate part of my education and helped me really have a platform to go on to tech and learn how to study and be successful.
That's great, Mark. Tell us about the Prosperity branch here. How many people do you employ? some general things about one of the strong banks in our community.
We employ approximately 11 folks. It just depends, you know, what the needs are. We have a lot of kids that go to school here. We encourage them to come and work for us and also be a student here. We are very high on education. We make sure that they get their education before they go on to bigger and better things. And as a bank here in town, one of the larger players, we're very involved in agriculture. We're involved in educational events just like this one right here. We're so proud to be a part of it.
That's great, Mark. Well, we certainly appreciate your support. It's great that you would come out and be with us today. Haven't you enjoyed the show so far?
It's been fantastic. My daughter's going to be judging in this, and I'm so tickled that she is, and she's following kind of in my footsteps, and hopefully she'll go on and be a better student than I was, Mr. Presley.
You were an excellent student. I know you see a lot of people in the barn. Of course, many of them probably are your customers. What do you think about the quality of the show? Quality
of the show is top notch. Mr. Newsom was one of my 4-H kids back in the day. We're very proud to say that. We didn't ruin him too much. He's a fine young man. He's done an excellent job with this program. As you can see this backdrop, he has just done phenomenal work, and we are so proud to have him here at South Plains College.
That's great. Well, we appreciate Prosperity Bank's support. We appreciate Prosperity Bank being a large part of this community, and you're always very helpful when we need you. Thanks for the support, and it's great for you to come today.
You bet. We're proud to be here.
Well, we're back here at the Mallet Event Center for the South Plains Livestock Judging Contest. I'm going to do little things different later on in the day. We're going to interview some of Mr. Connor Newsom's freshman kids so they can tell you a little bit about what they go through on a daily basis and how livestock judging and the agriculture industry has helped mold it. In the middle there in the blue shirt, that's Mr. Miles Hockstead from Needville, Texas. Miles has had a already pretty successful high school judging career. He's actually a freshman now. He was a member of the 4-H team that won Kansas City, the FFA team that was reserve at Denver. To his right, Mr. Will Watts there from Mississippi. He does a really nice job. Showed a bunch of good cattle growing up. Excellent reason speaker. Down there with the slicked over haircut, the Indiana boy himself, Mr. Connor Cross. He was a member of the sophomore. Down there to the far left, Mr. Wesley Weinecke. Showed a bunch of steers going up for their Brandon Horn down there in Anson, Texas. Those two do a really nice job with the sticks. I'm joined in the booth now by Mr. Austin Graves. He's a freshman on Miles and Will's team. Austin, you want to tell the people back home a little bit about yourself?
My name is Austin Graves, as Preston just said. I was born and raised in Norman, Oklahoma. My dad and them, they run about a 500-head commercial operation of it's like a cow-calf operation. mainly commercial, but we're starting to slowly grow into like making show stock, and eventually one day we want to get to that point. Last couple years of high school, I moved down to Crane, Texas. That's where I graduated from. Started picking up my judging career a little bit more in my last couple years, and came and talked to Connor my senior year, and now I'm here on the judging team.
Yeah, guys, those at home, Austin, he grew up showing them Steve Bonham show steers up there in Oklahoma. He's a big bottom guy, does a really nice job. What's your favorite experience about livestock judging, and what it's made you the person you are today? Not necessarily about South Plains, just the agriculture industry and livestock judging itself.
Agriculture in general has just made me a lot of friends, especially like on this judging team. These guys that I'm judging with are my best friends, and they're going to continue to be my best friends throughout my entire life. I can guarantee it.
I got you. Well, Austin, I appreciate you taking some time. Austin's a group leader today. We're going to turn it over to have an interview with Miss Brittany Allerkamp. She's a member of my livestock. We'll turn it over to Brittany right now. Thank you, Austin.
Hi, I'm Brittany Allerkamp, and we're here with Weston Wyatt. And he's going to talk to us about a little bit about hogs.
Well, I just want to appreciate y'all having me out here. I helped put on the hog officials today, and I really think we got a good set put together. Really, I want to thank the South Plains judging team for kind of having me out and everything. I helped coach the champion team at San Antonio as well. So it's a great group of kids we got here. They really have some bright future ahead of them. Really good contest all the way through. Just excited to be here.
Weston, tell us a little bit more about what these kids out here are looking for when they're evaluating hogs.
When we evaluate these hogs, we do it, there's a breeding and a market class. So just starting with the market class, we want to really focus on structural correctness, really breeding and market. We're taking them to slaughter, so we want them to have a little bit more muscle on them. We still start with the ground up. We want them to be right in their angles. When we get on top of them, we want them to have a big, fresh back and stout hip in them. We want their legs to be square, not bow-legged, not coming in at their hocks or anything like that. Really just want these things to be able to withstand the drive. As far as the breeding gilts go, it's kind of along the same lines. We like them to be structurally correct, laid back. They still got to have a little bit, but we focus more on the feminine and maternal qualities. We still want these females to be elegant about their head and necks, laid back, correct in their angles, square on their feet and legs, but they got to be a little bigger ribbed, just really have a good sweep to their flank. We really just want these things to really just look like good moms in the end, and that's how these producers keep producing the females that they have to make good show pigs and good sows as far as market and breeding go.
Can you tell us a little bit about your success in the hog industry and what you do for kids nowadays?
Yeah, well, I've been showing hogs my whole life. I've actually been fortunate enough to exhibit the Grand Bear at Houston, the Reserve Grand Bears at both the State Fair and San Angelo. That was my show career, and right now I help a couple families out. We've been fortunate enough to banner at a couple shows. We really pride ourselves in being and give back to these kids that aren't as successful before and teach them how to do things and how to do things the right way as far as doing the right things at home and putting in the work that they need to put in.
Perfect. Thank you, Weston.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, Brittany. Weston, thank you for your time. We greatly appreciate your side, and some of your head coaching abilities will always be talked about around Levelland, Texas, and West Texas. We'll go ahead and bring back Tanner in. Tanner, he's been on her doing a really nice job over there. We'll let Tanner talk about one of his other strong suits, and that's some bovine. And we got Mr. Magic Mike there, or the Magic Man himself, Mr. Matt Popelka, on the left side of the booth here. He'll chime in whatever he needs to. Tanner, if you want to go ahead and take it away.
Well, you know, I'm starting to sound like a broken record here. It feels like I'm repeating myself 90% of the time, but I think let's just go through the selection criteria for market steers before we do anything else. Firstly, obviously, muscle. You know, you want them to be stout, you want them to be bold, and that lays the foundation for having a big back or big tops. Definitely a big one, obviously, especially for steers, is just in terms of correctness of finish and how much finish they've laid on, and you want them to be mellow over their 12th and 13th, so that way they, they'll grade in the right way they should. Thirdly, which is an important part of every aspect of our livestock industry, is structural correctness. You want them to read right in their angles, and pull the lead, you want them to get out and go like they should. And then lastly, just in terms of balance, you want them to be stout, you want them to be bold, and you want their bone to match their top side mass, and you want them to be soft to the back side of their flank and have some side view shape. And just when you set them up from the side, the hardest thing for me coming in was being able to read my handle. When I step into handle, being able to read freshness and how much finish they've laid on, and the difference between freshness and staleness and what they've got on them. And I think that was definitely one of the hardest things for me to overcome in terms of livestock judging and in terms of just being a good stockman in general.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more, Tanner. For the northern people that are around ringside and in terms of their back shape and just how much genuine muscle and cutability there is in a great market steer, I think some of the Texas majors, the steers that won this year, are ultra good. The guys do a really good job getting them things ready down here. I'll be honest with you, I thought judging market steers was easy the first couple of times I did it, but the more in depth we try to make these things, and the better livestock people, the better minds we try to mold, I think the market steers is probably the thing that's changing, because you're starting to get more muscle, and the better eye appeal steers that have the muscle and have the structure to just keep working up. I think it's an awesome experience. Tanner, you show any steers growing up?
No, sir. I never had that opportunity. Being a first-generation ag kid, I started showing pigs because we didn't have a whole lot of money when I was more experienced and got involved. And my dad realized that this was going to be a part of my life for the rest of my life. He gave me a choice. He said, well, you can show one steer for every 4 pigs. And so, when you're getting to be a sophomore and junior and senior and you're trying to hang those banners, it's a pretty easy decision when you can have 4 shots instead of 1.
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. I grew up showing some steers there. Actually, I had the privilege to work for the guy that was just interviewed a couple of minutes ago, Matt Popelka out there at CPR Cattle Company. I think those guys do a really good job with some shorthorn cattle. That uncaged bull they're promoting really good. I think he makes them think, if you're ever in the need for a show steer or a good laugh, I think you should travel out to Levelland, Texas, and meet the Magic Man himself. I think he's an awesome guy. He's helped change my life. I guarantee you that. I wouldn't be the guy I am today or have the dang sure sense of humor if it wasn't for him. We'll look down at the bottom of our screen. We'll go to the Hereford Heifer class. The Hereford Heifers were brought to us by Beerwinkle Livestock, Cy Beardwell. He was actually a 1996 graduate of South Plains College. He was on the judging team there. I had the privilege of talking to him earlier, and he informed me that there's actually a reserve division in this culture, ultra good right there, just in terms of putting some great pieces for the Hereford breed together. We'll go ahead, and we've already talked about breeding heifers again, but we'll go ahead and talk about the selection criteria one more time. Just the structural correctness is the most important in anything breeding, I'll be honest with you. And then you make the rib shapes right. Just that Hereford heifer that the young man there in the vest has on, just her upper rib shape is absolutely exceptional, I think. Just terms of putting the rib shape in there, then you can add all the things you want to into them, and then just start from there. Starting structural correct and dimension and foot size, that goes along with muscle in my eyes for breeding cattle. It's not generally just raw, genuine, like market shape muscle like Tanner and them hog feeders want to put in their back shape, but it's just terms of laying their muscle on in a smooth pattern. performance really does matter. We talked about that in the ewes, weight per day of age. The faster they can get to a weight per day of age where we can turn them out and breed them and kick them out into production, if they're not going to be a show heifer, that's really, really important. Flip them to the side. They need to look like a female. Their neck comes out high out of their shoulder. The young man, we'll talk about that one in terms of his head shape. I think that one's exceptional right there. I got a couple of kids over there stretching in the corner and working. We're going to walk this one heifer around there. These things are sheared off, in case y'all are wondering back home. They're a little bit sheared off because they're probably going to get, my guess is getting ready for junior nationals, to get that fresh hair coat back on when they go up there and try to compete with the big boys all across the nation. I know we judged Hereford heifers this year at the State Fair of Texas, and me and Tanner were in the same group, so I think I'm going to let Tanner tell you a couple of good stories about that class and that contest there.
In terms of IDs specifically, you got to talk about feathers, you've got to talk about colors, you've got to talk about all of those differences, because if you want to score a high set in Herefords, you have to bring that out. And one thing that I always made a point of was to check for IDs, because that just made your set stand out that much more from the rest. The other thing I think in terms of heifers is just foot shape. If you read foot shape, then usually if they're built right in their foot, then they're usually built right in everything else. Usually their angles read right, and so does their foot shape. So I think that's a big thing to talk about with heifers. And then lastly, just in terms of freshness differences, and through their flank and start poning up on their tails as much as some people. But I think that's about all that we can talk about for Hereford heifers for right now. Okay. Anything else to add, Preston?
I think Mr. Todd's got a preview from our coach, Connor Newsom. He's going to go ahead and tell you a little bit about the South Plains Livestock Judging Team. Todd, take it away.
You know, every day begins with a sunrise, but it's what you do before the sun sets that matters. Whether you measure your success by owning land, expanding your herd, or managing risk to provide security for your family, our purpose is simply this. Ag Texas Farm Credit Services is dedicated to the prosperity of agriculture and rural America. It's your Texas. Live it.
We're here with Connor Newsom, coach of the South Plains College Livestock Judging Team. Connor, what exactly is the All-American Collegiate Program?
Well, thank you, Quay, for asking that. And the All-American encompasses not only the time in the classroom, but also the time and how these students perform at livestock judging contests. Those livestock judging contests would be our national contests. Those start with Kansas City in the fall. We go to Louisville, and then we start with Denver in the spring, and we end up with Houston, which was our most recent contest that we just competed in. And that's where they will announce the All-Americans every year. They pick 15 of those students out of almost 200 that have a chance to become an All-American in the junior college livestock judging world. The challenge is what we put these students through practice time, them balancing that with schoolwork, and still on top of that, becoming successful at both. And so it's a true testament to balance and the dedication of our students to have 3 of the 15 All-Americans across the nation, which I was extremely proud of. But becoming an All-Americans means time, dedication, and hard work as much as anything.
The Mallet Event Center and Arena is a state-of-the-art facility capable of accommodating an event of any size. With its adaptable arena, multi-purpose expo center, and elegant banquet hall, whether your event is large or small, the Mallet is flexible. Averaging more than 130 events annually, the Mallet has hosted events ranging from rodeos, weddings, to vendor shows and business meetings. Contact us today to book an appointment and let our capable and experienced staff turn your event dreams into a reality.
Connor, we know you have the 2 annual livestock judging camps coming up. Can you tell us more about those?
We have two camp opportunities. Become Legendary is what we call our camps over the summer. But two of those camps target different types of students. Our first camp is You Be the Judge. It's June 1st through 3rd, right there before State 4-H. Our second camp is the last weekend in July, the 27th through the 29th. That would be Livestock Judging 101. You Be the Judge, strictly oral reasons. We want to prepare those kids for the state contest and making sure that they're getting one-on-one attention with our counselors and students that have gone through our judging program. The Livestock Judging 1 targets the younger kids. We want to start with the basics. That can be anywhere from just evaluation up to oral reasons as well, but it's all the basics to get our kids started off in the right direction. But those two camp opportunities are great for the kids. We've had success with them. We'd love to see you guys make it out there.
Why choose South Plains College?
I chose South Plains College because I really love the small student-to-teacher ratio.
A quality education at an affordable price.
Definitely starting out small kind of gives you a foundation on, to grow, especially if you're going to be transferring.
With over 100 programs of study, 4 locations, and amazingly affordable tuition, the choice is clear. And introducing the new Culinary Arts program, now enrolling.
Prepare yourself.
Prepare yourself.
Prepare yourself at South Plains College.
Hi, my name is Cleo, and I'm here with Mr. Brent Haber. Brent comes to us from Midland County for our judging team. And so I know you guys put on the contest back when you were there.
Right.
How does the contest in 1996 compare to the contest today?
Well, the obvious answer to that is if you can hear the roof trying to raise off this place with the wind and stuff. I mean, this Mallet Center is amazing. Oh Lord, 20 years ago, out at the college putting this contest on, it was either you're eating dirt all day long or I mean, I've been at this contest when it was sleeting and snowing.
Oh, yeah.
So, part of the country.
I know you brought some kids with you today. And are your kids for livestock judging contest?
We try to strive with the kids that I've had. And I guess this is my 14th year coaching the Midland team. I coached some other places before, at the college level and stuff. But, the joy that I have in this part of it is taking what I love about livestock judging and the ag industry in general, and teaching these younger kids that, I mean, we don't stress as much about, I mean, we like to win, don't get me wrong, but that's not our biggest focus. I mean, I want these kids that, they're shy kids or things like that, and give them an opinion, give them a voice, and teach them how to evaluate the stock, and and then show them what this could be for them in the future. I mean, right now they're 12 to 17, 18-year-old kids that this is a fun day, but when they can see the opportunities for college scholarships and things that they can do in the future with it, I mean, that's what it's all about for me. We want to teach them the qualities of sort and stock, but also of becoming better people.
Yes. And how many kids did you bring out here today?
I've got 9 kids with me today.
I know a lot of kids even today, they don't know if they're necessarily going to go to junior college or senior college to judge. As an alumni from South Plains, what tips, tricks, comments would you give these students if they're kind of trying to make up their mind about judging, or they're really set on it, how to become successful?
The main thing is just make every day a good day. Okay, when we start these contests or we go to practice, learn from each practice, build from it. If you want to set your sights towards, the possibility of judging in college, whether it's junior or senior college, realize that that's a possibility, but that it takes hard work to get there. I recommend to all of my kids junior colleges. I mean, I really do. I know, you know, they can't watch South Plains play football on Saturdays, but at the same time, you know, when they can understand the value of a university or a college like South Plains, where you can get your basic credits in and you can learn how to become a college student, because that was the hardest thing for me. I grew up in Seagraves, Texas, and you know, my entire graduating class was 50 kids. You know, the first class I sat in, I'm a student, and I think that's the value of a junior college.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Brent.
Absolutely. Thank y'all for doing this.
Oh, keep going. Do you have any?
Did that a while ago.
Do you have any additional comments for us?
No, my hat's off to you guys for putting this together. I think the concept here is fantastic of broadcasting, you know, this event. I hope some other people take advantage of this and see this concept, because, you know, you think about the National Western and you know, the American Rule and those colleges for the college contests even. You know, I don't know that there's anything like this out there.
So much for being with us today and bringing your kids out here, because I know hopefully they gain some experience from this, and everyone, your team has a great day.
I hope they do too. I don't have to kill them.
All right, ladies and gents, we're back here with Weston Wyatt, who interviewed with Miss Brittany Allerkamp earlier, and Wes and I are going to discuss the performance guilt class over there on the far side of the arena. Weston, could you tell me a little bit about the performance guilts?
Yeah, first of all, guys, thanks for having me again. It's always a pleasure. Livestock industry, and I dang sure love to talk hogs. We'll start with these guilts, I guess. Shout out to my boy Josh Crone for providing them. It's a great set of guilts. Can't be more happy with the set that he brought. The selection criteria we normally try to focus on when we study these guilts. First off, structural soundness, just making sure their skeleton's correct. They're laid back in all their angles, making sure that they are actually pliable and can actually handle being that maternal female that we want. And that goes into performance. Then muscle comes next. Obviously, we still got to have these things with a little bit on them. They're definitely not like market barrows where they have to have the big back, big old stout hip in them. But we still like these things to have a little bit on them. That way, genetically, when we breed these things, we can kind of tell how they're going to turn out as far as their offspring go. Then we go more towards the balance effect. Split these things into third. Like to just fold those things over together. We want all of these gilts to really just balance up and look the part, and just not look really piecey, as we like to put it.
The last thing we're going to talk about is some of the reproductive traits like teats and vulvas, you know, underlying differences and things like that. I think one of the big things that you have to discuss with gilts is, you know, right direction, because sometimes we get into instances where they're turned up. That's what we call the tipped vulva. And then I think the other thing that you need to point out, and that you can kind of correlate sometimes with the type of animal they are, is underlying differences. You know, are their teats coarse and blunt and short, or are they refined and feminine, and are they even in their spacing, and do they have the right count on both sides? Because ideally they should have at least 6 on both sides. So Weston, I know you showed quite a few bears back in the day, but did you ever show any gilts much?
Actually, we showed a couple gilts. We actually Indiana State Fair. That was always a fun time, actually. You get to see something outside of the state of Texas that we're just really not used to down here. Get to see kind of the trend changing. People say the trend usually changes about 2 to 3 years ahead of time up north before it makes its way down here in Texas. Indiana. My last time to go, we had the second high selling gilt up there at the Crossbred Classic. And then we took a gilt up there as well that we were reserve grand at the Belt Buckle Bonanza with. It was a really good time. I honestly prefer the gilts over the Barras, if we're being honest, even though I didn't show as many of them for the length of my career. But the gilt barn's just so more laid back. It's not as cutthroat. It's just you don't have to worry about weight. You feed these things kind of whatever they want to make them look good, and really, I mean, it's just so much less stressful. What did you prefer, really?
Well, I mean, honestly, you know, I showed mostly Barras, but I hauled some gilts, you know, right there towards. For this old Texas boy, that was definitely an interesting experience. You get up there and it's all hills and cornfields and everything's beautiful and green, and we definitely don't get a whole lot of that down here in West Texas. But I think one of the coolest things of showing gilts was just in terms of, like you said, it's just a whole nother ball game. You know, with Barras, we do everything to tune them in and make them right and make them the biggest backed and the biggest tipped and still stout and square. But I think in terms of gilts, you know, you can put a lot more credit towards being more feminine in their muscle shape, being bolder in their rib cage, and still having just a soft on there, and just evaluate them as individuals, you know, Barras versus gilts, because you're definitely thinking about two totally different kinds of animals.
Well, and then the good thing about the gilt deal is when you go to these gilt shows, these breeding gilt shows where there's a sale after, and you go through the sift and everything, these guys are looking for fundamentally sound gilts, because we know these breeders are going to end up purchasing them after and going to end up trying to breed them. So unlike the Barras you can give a little bit up as far as structural correctness, structurally ideal. You'll give up a little bit of look, you'll give up a little bit of hip, you'll give up a little bit of back. I mean, you just want these things to be structurally right, because when you do that, you want something that you can throw whatever bore you want to on and it turn out. Not have to really hide any holes. That's the good thing we like about it. But I mean, I don't know, it's just the animals are getting so good as a whole as far as gilts and Barras go that this deal ain't tough. As far as the Texas major stock shows and heck, even up north, I know we like they dang sure ain't losing any quality once you go up north.
I'll definitely agree with that. You know, I bought a lot of hogs from up north, and I think one of the coolest things was just seeing the different types and kinds. Because, you know, down here we get them freaky. We get them as freaky as we can make them. We like them stout. We like them tall-bladed, and we like them, you know, just sound and just crazy looking. And I think it's kind of a different game when you get up north. Personally, I think they're just looking for a little more problem-free, a little more complete animal that's practical and bold and still big and works for some people. And I think one of the most interesting things is going to different shows and seeing different judges and seeing their types and kinds, because you may have one bear that wins a show for one guy and then stands fifth for another one. So I think it's just all different kinds, and it's just a whole game of luck.
Well, yeah, and for sure. And the thing with down here in Texas, we kind of have to study these and cattle and whatever at these shows. We have to study what they like, because obviously someone like Brian Anderson isn't going to like the same kind of animal as Warren Beeler. They're two different total types and kinds, and if you take a Brian Anderson hog to Warren Beeler, it ain't going to turn out good for you. So we have to really study what these guys want and really try to kind of zero in on how good we think these bears are going to be at the next level, when we really, really want them to be elite.
Why choose South Plains College?
I chose South Plains College because I really love the small student-to-teacher ratio.
A quality education at an affordable price.
Definitely starting out small kind of gives you a foundation on, to grow, especially if you're going to be transferring.
With over 100 programs of study, 4 locations, and amazingly affordable tuition, the choice is clear. And introducing the new Culinary Arts program, now enrolling.
Prepare yourself.
Prepare yourself.
Prepare yourself at South Plains College.
We're here with Tanner Keaton. Tanner is from Borger, Texas, and Tanner had the distinction of being named one of the 2018 All-American Livestock Judges. Tanner, what does it mean to you to be an All-American?
Well, honestly, Quay, I'm a first-generation ag kid. I didn't really have the advantage of knowing all of these people and having the name that everybody else did, and that was kind of discouraging getting into it. I didn't have all the knowledge that all these other people did, and I didn't know what exactly I was supposed to do. I just knew that I enjoyed working with livestock. And, as I got older, that passion kind of blossomed into something that was just so inspiring to do so well at something, because most of the time I'd just done well at school. And when Connor actually recruited me to come be a livestock judge, I had no idea about any of the All-American or anything like that. But once I got to school, I knew it was quickly something that I wanted to be involved in. So I worked hard, I put in the time. I listened to my coach, even though I didn't always want to, but I did everything that I could in my power to be an All-American, and when they called my name on that stage, it was just kind of the icing on the cake, and those last 2 years of work that I'd put in were worth it.
The Mallet Event Center and Arena is a state-of-the-art facility capable of accommodating an event of any size. With its adaptable arena, multi-purpose expo center, and elegant banquet hall, whether your event is large or small, the Mallet is flexible. Averaging more than 130 events annually, the Mallet has hosted events ranging from rodeos, weddings, to vendor shows and business meetings. Contact us today to book an appointment and let our capable and experienced staff turn your event dreams into a reality.
Welcome back to the 48th Annual South Plains College Livestock Show. We've got a great show going on today, and we've got some great sponsors, and one of them is here with me right now. This is Shane Falk from Sundown State Bank. Good afternoon, Shane.
Good afternoon, Ron.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good, good. Tell me a little bit about what you do at Sundown State Bank.
I'm the president and CEO of Sundown State Bank office here out of Levelland, Texas.
Now you say the office here in Levelland. Are there other branches of Sundown State Bank?
Yes, sir. We have 5 branches: Levelland, Sundown, Brownsville, Denver City, and then we have a branch down in Wall, Texas, just outside San Angelo.
Well, that's great. Then y'all cover a pretty big area.
Yes, sir, we do.
Now, of course, I know that the bank is involved in the oil field, being originally from Sundown, and I've always heard how involved in agriculture the bank is also.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we're a pretty big ag bank. Probably today bigger ag bank than we are oil bank, but we still do a mix of both.
That's amazing. No, that's news to me. I didn't know that. So you've got a big customer base in all of your banking areas, I would think.
Yes, sir, we do. Pretty Good. Equal across the board.
Good. So approximately how many people does the Sundown State Bank here in Levelland hire?
We'll have 10 on staff here in Levelland.
Great.
And most of our branches have around 5. We got close to 40 employees total in the bank.
Okay. Well, what do you think of our show today?
It's going to be an exciting deal.
Good.
Glad to be a part of it.
Good. Looking at all these fine young people, if that doesn't make you happy, you can't be happy.
Oh, yes, sir. Glad to be a part of this deal.
Well, we certainly appreciate Sundown State Bank sponsoring an event like this and helping these young people. I know that your family and you've been involved in 4-H, FFA, and entities like that, helping our young people in our communities. I know that Sundown State Bank has always been a supporter of many programs in their areas regarding the youth and the community. And I really appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Owen, and I'm here with Mr. Justin Rogers. He's a county extension agent in Young County. And Justin, I want to know, how did you become
2 years ago as a county extension agent for agriculture and natural resources in Graham in Young County, and I had the opportunity to come to the You Be the Judge Reasons Camp that South Plains puts on. I thought it was an intriguing idea for kids to get some immediate attention right before our 4-H roundup. And so I actually dropped my daughter off and see what it's about, and I got to know the program the last 2 years and have been very impressed. And so it's had for over 30 years or longer than I guess. But it's a deal where I've always knew South Plains, always knew about it, but now a little more personal knowing the coaches and some of the kids in the department there.
Definitely. I know you told me that you're going to send your daughter here in the next, year?
Actually, in 6 months. She starts in August. Yes.
Okay, 6 months. So, as a parent perspective, how what do you feel in terms of sending her to livestock judging program here at South?
Great spin the last 3 or 4 years on the program as it got to I wanted her to go to a competitive place, an academic strong place, but also a place so that cared about the kids in the community. I've been fortunate to judge the Hawk other places, but this is the one she was set on.
Perfect.
NEO, and which she was on the national champion team in '95 at NEO, and then on the '96 team at Oklahoma State, and really had a good experience there.
Good. Explain more about your experience there in terms of livestock judging.
But NEO, I get there as a freshman. There's 35 freshmen, and it was very highly competitive. And it was a deal where 10 of those freshmen actually got to meet the floor as sophomores. Both some started as freshmen, some started as sophomores and ran all the way through. Later, they were on teams at OSU, Michigan State, Texas A&M. Very, very competitive group of guys and young ladies. A lot of them are leaders in the livestock industry now. Some are educators, some of them are ranchers and cattlemen. But it's a really highly competitive group. Was able to get back. I actually later coached at NEO for a few years and had a chance to get back into education and extension. And it's really, I think it's a great program. I know it's a great program. Livestock judging teaches job skills better than anything that a agriculture student can do as a team. And so that.
Yes. What is your favorite part about judging, or not judging, but coaching these kids and letting them come out?
Embrace that. I like to see those 9-year-old, what I call 9-year-old Freddie 4-H'ers, starting to little and they don't have a clue about it. And because see the
any additional comments for us today?
Just glad to be here. Glad for the great contest. It's a really neat idea what you guys are doing.
Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you. Bye.
Every day begins with a sunrise, but it's what you do before the sun sets that matters. Whether you measure your success by owning land, expanding your herd, or managing risk to provide security for your family, our purpose is simply this. Ag Texas Farm Credit Services is dedicated to the prosperity of agriculture and rural America. It's your Texas. Live it.
I say this often and truly believe that the success of any program can be seen in those who come from that program. SPC has an incredible list of alumni that prove we have a heritage rich in both tradition and success. One of the keys for any department is to provide students with opportunities to become involved in their discipline. For us, it is livestock judging. Our program has been the foundation for students to become industry leaders within the College of Ag Sciences. This excellence transfers to many other areas of their life, such as the obvious benefits of being a skilled public speaker
and decision-making abilities that excel the average student.
There's a long list of things that livestock judging has certainly done for me, but I think one of the most important is nowadays it's not so much what you know, but it's rather who you know, and with the team traveling across the United States judging contests and working out at farms and different ranches, it's really helped me to open myself a network and establish relationships that I think will certainly last longer than my judging career will.
Growing up livestock judging, I knew it would become a major part of my life, and whenever I did finally become a senior, I knew it's something I wanted to pursue throughout college. And whenever I did come into contact with Connor Newsom, I came down here and gave a tour, and I knew this is a legendary program that I wanted to become a part of so I could be competitive throughout my collegiate career.
Without a reasonable doubt, I would certainly recommend any individual who would like to try to increase their skills in the livestock judging area certainly to come to South Plains, because not only do they specifically recruit the kind of kids that get along really well in a contest, but there's certainly good personal relationships can be built here. But as much as anything, as I feel like the location of Levelland is just really vital to help establishing a good base on the industry and show standings that can help you get along well in a contest as far as meeting people who do well in and out of the show ring. And you learn some the real world side of things that really kind of help you find the logics behind the class, and Connor does a phenomenal job accentuating that with each and every one of us.
Our program was designed around leadership and self-discipline, and I still believe that this product is being instilled in students who finish our program. Perks include enhanced evaluation skills and the opportunities to meet leaders in our industry and see some of the best livestock in the world. For more information about the livestock judging team, please come visit us on the web at southplainscollege.edu or come by our Facebook page. If you want to give us a call, 806-716-2324.
Hi, my name is Quay Owen, and I'm here with Dr. H. Specialist, but he's also the tabulator for today's contest. And so as we're wrapping up the livestock judging contest right now, tell us a little bit more about the tabulating process.
Well, I've only actually been tabulating with Scantrons for a couple of years now, but it's a great way to quickly get the results for the contest, but it's very critical when these kids fill out the Scantrons all, of course, that they mark them correctly, and we try to verify that and make sure everything's accurate, but they can really mess a contest up if they get it off the bubble, but it's a results at the end of the day.
So approximately how long does it normally take you guys from the time they fill out the Scantron to get it to the machine, or however you guys tabulate it, and to get results?
We can get everything completely scanned and tabulated in about 20 results in about 20 minutes time.
Perfect. You also mentioned to me earlier that you were on the 1999 livestock judging team at South Plains College. Tell us a little bit more about how your experiences with livestock judging, you've been able to teach your kids that you have here today, and to help their livestock judging experience be a little bit better.
Okay. Livestock judging has always been a huge passion of me since I was a little kid. So whenever I was a little kid, I grew up here in Levelland. Dave Clevich went on to Texas Tech and judged as well for Clay Elliott, and really enjoyed getting to learn life, something that I enjoy, continue to teach that they will learn. It'll help them in everything that they do down the road.
Definitely. I know there's always the favorite part about being the livestock judging coach, but what?
I think the biggest challenge is teaching kids to talk reasons. Particularly,
I want to ask, do you have any additional comments about livestock judging as a whole to add today?
I don't. We are getting ready next Friday. We're actually participating in it, so good luck to all you guys.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you, Dr. Hard, for you taking your time out of your day to help tabulate the contest today. We greatly appreciate that and all you do for the kids around West Texas, and you do an awesome job. Joined back in the booth with one of my teammates from South Plains College, Miss Brittany Allerkamp. I'll tell you a little bit about Brittany. Y'all talked to her earlier, but I'll be honest with you. I think Brittany is one of the most talented individuals I've ever been around in my entire life. I'll be honest. She might not be the most outgoing person, and unless you ask her to be, but she's really passionate about the livestock industry, and she's got some great experiences. Her fan about the opportunity to maybe work with them one day when my kids start showing, and I just cherish Brittany's friendship. There's never been a time where I always had to worry about her coming through to make all, because when in doubt, if happy, the old saying goes pretty well. We'll let Brittany just kind of talk about what's kind of going on right now on our screens, and we'll just let her talk about what the kids are going through right now. Brittany?
Well, thank you, Preston. Those were all very kind words to say. Putting on this contest, is this our fourth year now, Preston?
Yes, ma'am.
Helping with this, and we're both graduating in May, and I think we're going to be a little bit sad when we can't come back and help out with this. But what the kids are doing, we're having questions over the breeding gilts. We're also having questions over the market lambs and the Hereford heifers here today. Specs, color, and hoof shape and stuff like that. And so, they were told what the question classes were going to be before they entered the contest, and hopefully they took them, answered well, and hopefully all these kids do a good job and these questions aren't too difficult for them.
Like we were talking about earlier, well, good afternoon. We're wrapping up questions right now. If they're not, they're going to go through the contest with their coaches. We just want to thank y'all for taking the time out of your day to spend some time with us and help us make history here in Levelland, Texas, the South Plains Livestock Judging Contest. I think the kids had an awesome day. Like we talked about earlier, we had about 600 kids here. I think about 50 or 60 of them are going to go talk reasons. The rest of them will go get with their coaches and start going over the classes. We'll have the critique here in about 20 minutes, and hopefully we'll be back with y'all in about 45 minutes to give y'all some results. I just want to thank y'all again for helping us and being with us today. Y'all have a great rest of your day, and we're excited to see y'all for results here in a little bit. Thank y'all. One final time, we'll go ahead and sign off here in the next couple of minutes. Just want to take some time to pass around some thank yous. First and foremost, we'd like to thank Pilot Real Media and Todd Stinson for helping us accomplish our goal today to make history here in Levelland at the South Plains Livestock Judging Contest. Without them, it wouldn't be possible. Him and his crew do some job, and we greatly appreciate everything they've done for us today. We'd like to thank the breeders that brought some of the classes. The breeding guilds were brought to us by DL Show Pigs down in Lamesa. Josh Cronin, those guys do an awesome job. We want to thank them. We'll drop down to the breeding does, and that's our good buddy, Mr. Bryson Williams, like we talked to earlier. Thank Bryson and wish him the best of luck this sales season. Awesome set of does. Congratulations to him. We'll bump down to the weather dams, and those are brought to you by Newsom Livestock there in Olton, Texas. Connor and Logan Newsom and Jenny Bett, they do an awesome job. Raised some high-quality market lambs, raised the reserve grant at San Angelo 2 years ago. Got about 200 wethers for everyone to come sort if you're in the business for market lambs. Just awesome classes, some of the best high-quality animal limousine heifers you'll see in the country. I'd like to thank Lawrence Limousine for bringing those, and Amber Parkinson. Shout out to those guys there, the 2018 National Limousine Herdsman of the Year. I can't remember if it's actually Bruce or Amber, but hats off to those guys for always helping us out. We really appreciate it. The Hereford heifers were brought to you, Mr. Cy Bearwinkle. They're from Earth, Texas. Those guys, they raised the Grand and Reserve steer at the Houston Livestock Show. Awesome accomplishment. One of those heifers in that class was Reserve Division at Houston. She actually wins the class. We want to thank everyone for staying with us all day. It's been a really long day. We're going to have the critique here in about 10 minutes, but we're going to sign off for today. All the results will be posted on Judging Card card. Later this afternoon, about 6:30 or 7 o'clock, you'll be able to get onto that. I'd like to give one last shout out to Mr. Ron Presley, Dave Clevenger, and Connor Newsom for making this event possible, and all the ag teachers for bringing their kids here. But about 600 kids today. I just want to say good luck to everyone down the road. God bless you in your future endeavors, and have a great rest of your day.